All right, sorry about that. But okay, so the bottom of Ayin Amud base. Taner Rabbanan. Yeah, tonight's not such a easy daf. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but okay. So Taner Rabbanan. Oba Aaron El Oyel Moed. Right, so Aaron the kohen comes to the Oyel Moed and he goes to get he has to go get the machta and the kaf, right? The incense and the ashes. Lama Huba Lois is the kaf is the machta to take out the kaf and the machta. Yeah, on Talmud Aleph. Shekola parsha kula nemra la seder chutz mi pasuk zeh, because the entire parsha that's said in Acharei Mois is in order, except for this passuk. This passuk is out of place. My timer. Why is this passuk out of place? Amar Rav Chisda Gemiri Chamish Tfilas Asar Kiddushin Toivel Kohen Gadol V'Mekadosh Rebbe Yom. There's 5 tfilas and 10 kiddushin. Right, we've been learning that since the beginning of the Masechta. He goes in the mikveh 5 times and has to wash his hands and feet every change of clothing. So there's five times that's happening from back in between the gold clothing and the regular linen, the white. So Mamela needs to wash hands 10 times. It was very interesting. So it's halacha l'moshe misinai. It's halacha l'moshe misinai that he has to do this 10 times. Mamela, we have to fit the passuk into the halacha l'moshe misinai. Right, which the Gemara is really going to ask, and a little further down, like, well, what's going on over here? But Gemara is not going to ask it exactly like that. But it seems like we have this halacha l'moshe misinai to the extent that we have to fit the psukim in, and since it doesn't make any sense to fit it the way the Torah has it, so it must be that that's the only pasuk that's out of order in the whole Yom Kippur Avodah. Yes, and if you would say that it's that where the Torah writes that Aaron went in to get the machta and the kaf, if it happened where the Torah says it happened, then then all you're going to have is that the kohen gadol has to go to the mikveh 3 times and only wash his hands and feet 6 times. Why? Because he would not have had to change. Meaning, what happened is that every time he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, he had to change to the white, right? And from the big day Zav, he had to go into the big day Lavan. So if he did this of going back, if he had to go back in to get the coals and the ketairas when he was still wearing big day Lavan, so then you're going to be out. You're going to be out from a couple of and then again he doesn't have to change. So Mamela, you're going to be out from 2 tefillas and 4 washings. So Mamela, and we know that Halacha Mishna is that you have to have all of them. So therefore, therefore the pasuk has to be out of order. Yeah. So Maskav Rav Zera has the kasha. Who says that it has to be the going in for the coals? Maybe he stopped and he changed in order to go do the carbon that we had the last couple of days, the seir that he does outside of the Azara, right? Or outside of the Hechel.
Well, that's the big day Lavan.
What? No, but he'd have to change. That's what I'm saying. He had to change back to big day Zav, and then right. The Gemara is saying maybe it was a different avodah that's out of order. Who says that? I mean, it's a pretty big thing to say, the Torah is out of order because our Messiah Halacha l'moshe misinai doesn't fit for what's out of order, right? So maybe it's something else that's out of order. Some of the no, because on Makrafa Yotza v'Asa Salas, he goes out and he brings his oila, right? Once he goes out, then he goes out to do his ayil and the ayil of the nation. Rava says a different pshat. Amar Kra. The passuk says a pashat is big day habad. He takes off his linen clothing. Shein tamaloymar asher lavash klum adam paishid. Meaning, why do you have to say that he took off the clothing that he wore? Right? All the cynics amongst us, if somebody would say a phrase like that, take off the clothing you wore, we'd all jump on him and say, well, how can you take off clothing if you weren't wearing it? So why are you saying that you wore? So Rav is saying, so what's the shot in the extra words asher lavash? Right? Can a person take off his clothing only what he's wearing? Of course he's wearing it. So what's the word asher lavash that the kohen gadol was wearing it? What's it coming to tell you? Shalavash kfar, that he already wore it. Right? So meaning it's the second time that he's wearing it's not the first time that he's wearing the big day lovin, it's the big day lovin that he already wore once, changed into the gold clothing, and then changed back to the white clothing, tied to the big day lovin. So Maskal Rabbi Rav Shila, same kasha on this teretz. Ve'ema the mafsik lebasira nasa b'chutz. Why don't we say that he was mafsik with the seer that's on the outside? So which is same kasha. So on the same teretz, no, it says he went out and it has to be. To mean that when he goes out from the Eichel, he's going out totally. Yeah. So then the Gemara asks, V'chola parsha kula nemra la seder? Is the whole parsha really written in order? Meaning we said that the entire parsha of Achrei Mos is said in order except for this passuk. But is it really? V'akroi ksivi. Right, the pasuk says, "V'schela v'chatos yakter Mizbeach." It says the fats of the chatos you have to be makter. V'oda v'spara chatos v'sira chatos, and then it says the para chatos and zira chatos. V'ilu anantnan, but we learned in the Mishna meaning. So again, so the psukim, the order of psukim seems to be that he burns the chelev, the fats of the chatos on the Mizbeach, and then he goes and deals with the para chatos and zira chatos. Yeah, but the Mishnah says. Right, Vilu Anan Tanab, we learned in the Mishna, Roya Sakayan Kishu Kaira, when you see the Kayan reading from the Sefer Torah, Aina Roya Parvasira and Esrafin. It's not possible for you to see the burning of the par and the Seir. Vilu Emure Chatas Basar Achi Maklu, and the Emure Chatas comes after that, the way the Mishnah says it. Right? So Mamela, that's not the order that the Psukim say. So why don't we say that this is also out of order? So the Gemara says, "Ema chutz mi passuk zeh ve'elach." It doesn't mean that just the passuk. Excuse me. Don't say. Maybe I'm allergic to Gershon in person. I don't know. Yeah. So, Ema chutz mi passuk zeh ve'elach doesn't mean that only that passuk of Aaron and Kohen going back in to get the coals and the ketores is the one out of order. From then and on. It's we're free to not we're free, but it's meaning it's nothing is necessarily in order. So Gemara says, now here's the kasha that I think the Adam is asking. Why chazas the mishavashes kroi shavush masnisa? Who says that the psukim are out of order? Let's say the Mishnah is out of order. Meaning we're bringing a raya that our Mishnah is out of order. And we're bringing a raya from our Mishnah that the psukim are out of order. What kind of question is that? Why don't you say that your psukim are in order and your Mishnah is out of order? So Amar Rabayo, Amar Krab, Amar Shaleach v'Asayif. It says, and the one that's going to bring out the seir, and the one who burns the what do you call it? The other karbanos. Mama Shaleach demei kara, Afsayir demei kara. Right, just like. Meikara is a little tricky to taija meikara here. Meikara really means is the ikar. It merely means from the beginning, meaning just like the Mishaleach is referring to the first maisim that were done. Afsayr to meikara. So too the sreifa also, right? When they're going to burn the par and the seir, right? That means it was also early, meaning we hook the Mishaleach v'asayr together, and we say that the same, just like the goat was sent out earlier. So too, the animals were also burnt earlier, even though the pasuk seems to say that it's later. So the Gemara says, Adarabba. Why don't you say the opposite? Why don't you say, why are you comparing the burning to the sending out? Why don't you do the opposite? Compare the sending out to the burning. The burning is now, and the mishalech should also be now. So Gemara says no, because the word of mishalech, the meikara mashma, the word mishalech sounds like it was from the beginning. Why would that help?
Yeah, it's still the same. Now we have more out of order.
You mean now it's not going to help us get out of it? No, but at least less psukim will be out of order. No, you mean the seir
now you just make
out
him
of order
all the way up to now. You're just dragging him all the way now.
Saying it's gonna still keep us out of order. Unless you say that the passuk says it's going to be sent out just later. Can you say that? Meaning we're going to send it out, but what'll be sent out later?
What?
It's coming out. I
Yeah.
hear the kasha. That's a good kasha. All right, he stumped. That he stumped me is no chiddush. I'm just saying, but right, that he's got to drive to Cleveland, so for his sake, we're not going to tumble it. We're not going to tumble this now. But I know I hear the kasha. I hear it. Very good. Okay, so Rava Amar, right? Rava says a different shot, right? Rava Amar Yomad Chai. It has to stand there alive. Right, meaning the Sir Mishtaleach has to stand there alive. Until when do you need the seer that's going to be sent out to the cliffs to stand there alive? At Shas Kapara, until the time is Kapara, till the time of Kapara. And as we know, what is a Kapara? Famous Shas Kapara. When is the Kapara? Not what is the Kapara. When is the Kapara? B'Shas Matan Damim. That's when the Kapara of all karbanos is when you sprinkle the blood onto the Mizbeach, right? The Suloi. Right, and then there's no longer any reason for him to stand there anymore. So that's how you know that for sure it's going to be sent out later on. Fine. Okay, that's the first hard part of the daf, and now we get a little bit of easy part, and then we get another hard part. So Asi Mishaleach, right? So the one that sent out the goat, brought it out to the cliff. Matzu b'shuk l'kohen gadol. If he finds the kohen gadol in the street, he tells him, "Ishi kohen gadol asinu shlichusa." We did your shlich. Matzu b'beisa. But if he finds the kohen gadol in his house, then he tells him, "Mechai chayim asinu shlichusa." The one who gives life.
What do you mean he finds him in his house? Either he went to his house or not.
What? No, but let's say he's on his way to his house. Maybe he's on his. The way I understood it. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a day after Yom Kippur. Yeah, so he met him in the street buying the dollar.
That's if he meets him in the shuk.
So
but if he finds him in his house.
So the fellow bought a esrog and he asked the Seicha, "Can I show it to the kohen gadol? I'm not sure if it's good or not."
So he went to his house. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The Lashon episode is funny. No. Okay. Not all right.
Oh, you said no. He found him in the street before he got to. Yeah.
Found him in the shuk. I understand. He bumped into him. They're both shopping for lulav and esrog, but find him in the house. What do you mean? He found him in the house. It's like where?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also interesting. Rashi said
he hasn't been home in a week. The kohen gadol, I just realized he hasn't been home in a week.
Yeah. And
but that's the vart to matzah b'beisai. How many times have I come and I haven't matzah b'beisai Tzvi Yaakov? He hasn't. You can't find him in the house. Sometimes you do find him in the house.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, I hear.
Okay.
So anyway, okay. So Asi. I mean, the whole thing is interesting. Why does he have to tell him anything?
Because he's telling him he sent him on a shlichus, maybe.
Thanks. So what's it help to tell him the next day? What's it help to tell him the next day?
When you make a shliach, you got to come back and report, I did the job.
I hope not, because after the Mechiras Chametz, I never called anybody to tell him that I did the job.
Oh, okay. Well, you come to shul, that in itself shows you did the job.
I hear. Okay, so Asi Mishaleach.
It's a fascinating difference between finding him in the shuk and the home.
Yeah.
Who you mechabit.
Correct.
When there's people around, you mechabit the kohen gadol. When there's no people around,
right. So let's get to that. So again, so when he finds him in the shuk, if he finds it in the shuk, right? Then he tells him, kohen gadol, we did your shlichus. If he finds him at home, then he says, we did Hashem's shlichus, and we don't bring the kohen into the equation. So that's what Gershon is saying. That what's the difference between the shuk and the home? Because in the shuk, we're going to say he did the kohen gadol's shlichus, as the chashivas for the kohen gadol. When ultimately, in the house, he'd tell you the truth. It has nothing to do with the kohen gadol. We're all doing Hashem shlichus.
We had that Mishna. Onu shliche bezin v'ata shluchenu.
Right, very good.
You have that whole Mishna there.
Right, very good, Taka. The good tushta. So, right, so meaning it's like going over to the rabbi's speech, right? Or after the speech and saying, Hashem made you have a good speech. We're all sat around and listened to Torah because that's what Hashem wants, without being meshabeach him at all. Right? So to do that in public is a shtickle of bezayin. Even though it seems like from the Gemara that that's the proper That's the proper thing. Don't take credit. It's nothing to do with you. Right? You were working for Hashem, like you said, Ravena. That's the way it is. But comes out that so what Gershon is saying is that the Brius, you're saying that the Brius.
So
when people are around, you have
to be mechaber the kohen gadol.
You have to be right. He's saying you be mechaber. Yeah. Okay. So. So Amar Rabba, ki mifteri Rabbana me'adadi b'pumbedisa. So when the Rabbanan would leave each other in pumbedisa, Amri Hachi, they would say this: Mechayim Mesim, the one who gives life. Mechayim Chaim, I'm sorry. Yitin lecho Chayim aruchim v'tayvim musikanim. Should give you a long life, good life, and mesukan. It should be mesukan. Yeah. So that's seemed to be a way. They're using the Mechayim Chaim is a lashon that seemed to have been used. So then. Es halech lifnei Hashem ba'artzos hachayim, right? You go in front of Hashem in the artzos hachayim, right? This parrot is not on, but this song. This is the first song of the daf. So Rabbi Yehuda zeh mokum shvakim. That's talking about in the streets, right? Meaning David HaMelech went around the whole world, or whatever it is. I don't know if it's the whole world, wherever it was that he was always running, right? So he didn't have any normal places to go. So he's saying that your people should have shuks in order to properly take care of themselves, right? As opposed to what David had, right? Then the next song of the daf, ki ayrach yom v'shnayos chayim v'shalom yasifu loch, right? You should have this is the second in this song is used as after Yom Yimei Melech. They sing this. I don't think the Olam knows about this. This niggin for rabbis here, but in Eretz Yisrael, it stands of Eretz Yisrael. That is what they sing also. So ki ayrach yomim v'shnayos chayim, right? He should have long days and years of life, and shalom yasivu, and they should have peace. They should have peace. Now with whatever, no comment on that. Shanim shel chayim v'yesh shanim she'eino shel chayim. Is there such a thing as years that have life and years that don't have life? So Rabbi Lazar, elu shnaitzav shel adam hamsavches alav meira l'toiva. These are talking about the years of somebody's life. It gets switched from bad to good. Rashi says, right, that somebody who grew up poor and he became wealthy when he was older. So now he's considered as if he was made alive from death. I mean, it's right, oni chashav kames. So it's even though he's been alive, but now he's really alive because now he's even he's wealthy and he's still alive. Okay. Aleichem ishim ekra. So aleichem.
Now that he has money, people think he's smart also. Besides
all the bonuses that come along, right? So aleichem ishim ekra. So it means on you, I'm going to call men, right? So what's the pshat in the lashon of ishim? Yeah, ishim is an interesting lashon to call men, right? And this is in the beginning of that passuk of ki ayrach yom shnois chaim. That's what Rashi says. So what does it mean? Samar berchia elu talmidei chacham shedaim lenashim va'oisin gvura ka'nashim. Right. This is talmidei chacham that are similar to women, right? Va'oisin gvura ka'nashim, but they're strong like men. Meaning, so talmidei chachamim that they seem to be. Rashi says they're weak, right? Somebody's sitting and learning. He doesn't have koyach, right? But they're strong like men. Yeah. So fine. So that's why it's referring to them as ishim. Somebody who wants to make it as if he's putting wine in the Mizbeach, fill up the throats of the talmidei chacham with yayin. Shenemar aleichem ishim ekra. To you, ishim, what do you call it, right? Right? So ishim means eish, and ishim is plural. So that's the equivalent of the Mizbeach. So if you want to make it as if you're being makriv, something on the Mizbeach. Now, why does it pick yayin? Right? I don't know. I'm not sure why yayin. Because it should be anything on the Mizbeach. Okay, but whatever it is, if you feed talmidei chachamim, and then it's as if you're bringing karbanos. This one I also have a hard time understanding. If somebody sees that these kids are not learning Torah, Yisa bas talmid chacham, he should marry a bas talmid chacham. Now, what's that going to help? Right, the kid's already born. Right, so what does this mean here exactly? Right, so it seems like he should get married, and he should get a second wife who's a bas talmid chacham, and she'll help you
Straighten
bring
out the
up your
kids.
kids in the Torah way.
So take his kids.
I don't know. Okay,
Take his kids to his new shver. They'll see the new shver.
Maybe, but I don't know what that's going to do for shalom bayis. You got the first wife. You can. I don't know. Ich weiß nicht. Shenemar im Yaskin be'eretz.
He brings here from the Rif in Ein Yaakov that he's the new wife. He'll have more kids with the new wife who will be on the way of Torah.
And also, it's not. So they're saying it's not going to fix the kids. It's just
and
going to
the
give him new kids.
The Torah will remain among his descendants through the children born of that union.
You mean she's saying if you don't, you try again. And I mean, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
This is not an NCSY Kiruv story.
Right, and that's the first wife he married wasn't like she wasn't a bas Torah.
Who the first? No, bas talmid. There's a different level. Bas talmid.
Bas talmid chacham, yeah.
Okay, fine. So a bas talmid chacham is going to want to marry you now.
Yeah, because
Maybe
he just got rich. This is after
That's
the
all
one where
about
the guy
Baron.
hit the lotto. He hit the lotto for 400 million. So who's not going to be mishadik with him?
That makes him a talmid chacham itself.
That's about it.
I hear that's a good zushtav from one Gemara to the next. Okay, so anyway, so what's the passuk? Yeah, shenemar im yaskin ba'aretz. If it's going to be old in the land, in the ground, sharshay. I'm sorry, im yaskin ba'aretz sharshay. If the shirish, the root, is going to be old in the ground, the offer yomos gizay, and the gizay is the stuff that grows.
Trunk.
Right, I mean, sorry, the trunk. Well, the trunk, right? The trunk. Gizay is trunk. The trunk is gonna also die in the dirt on top of base. So meriach mayim yafriach, but from smelling water, right? Which Rashi says, what is that? B'nei Torah. Then va'as kitzir k'moinata, and then it's gonna make kitzir, things to eventually cut off. K'moinata, like things that are planted. So if you give it a smell of Torah, then Mamela, it's gonna help them grow. I don't know how that fits in exactly from here it's mashma, you're trying to improve the existing kids, not bring new, unless you say it's his Torah.
No, the old kids are dead.
The old kids are
I mean,
dead.
not the kids, but the tree. There's no fruit now. The fruit all died.
I hear.
You want to give it new fruit. That's how you do it.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. Okay, yeah, and then another shvera story right here. Right, the Yom Tif they made for the Ayava, right when the kohen came home, so it was a Yom Tif. So Torah about a Ma'aseh b'kohen gadol echad. She also beis hamikdash. There was a story of kohen gadol left the beis hamikdash. V'avo azli kuli ama basrei, like the way it is. Everybody was following behind him. Kiven de chazyunu l'shmaya avtalyon. Since the crowd saw shmaya avtalyon, shavku l'didei bazli basar shmaya avtalyon. So the crowd left the kohen gadol and they went to shmaya avtalyon. L'soif also shmaya avtalyon left Urim Vitumim the kohen gadol. So when shmaya and avtalyon came to leave the kohen gadol, which right, that's the din really. Before you leave town, you're supposed to go say goodbye to the leader of the town. So Amar Lehen, to the kohen gadol, said to them, Yesun b'nei amamin l'shlam. The people should, from the sons of the nations, should come in peace. Now, Shmaya and Avtalyon were Gerim, right? We had that. I don't know. We was in a Yuma, whatever it was. They were Gerim, and obviously they became the Gedolei Adar, but they were from Gerim. So the Kohen Gadol was sort of telling them like, the Gerim should come. So Amrulei Yesun b'nei amamin l'shlam. Better that the B'nai Aaron should come to in peace, to Abdin Uvda to Aaron, because we act like Aaron a Kohen, who was a man of peace, right? He was a Roid of Shalom. V'lo Yaisi bar Aaron l'Shalom, but the actual son of Aaron, meaning referencing to the Kohen Gadol, he should not have peace. The Lo Yavid Uvda to Aaron, because he's not acting like Aaron. See, that's what they're saying. We B'nai Amamin are behaving like Aaron, and we're men of peace. And you, who is actually a descendant of Aaron, is not a man of peace because you tried to give us a shtach. Yeah. Yeah, so Rashi says he was Ainos Dvarim. The kohen gadol was trying to be not ma'anis, to cause them pain.
Put them down.
By that. What?
Yeah. He put them down. He put them down.
He put them down. So okay, what is the pshat in this?
That's a noise on. They're making them feel bad.
Yeah, but what's a pshat kohen gadol that they? I mean, this is it doesn't say this was after Yom Kippur. Mastama it was based on.
It says because they make a yontiv after that. So it's after Yom Kippur the story is going on.
So I don't know. Unless this
It doesn't actually say that.
The yontiv for Yisrael Havav. After he came out of Kodesh HaKadoshim, he did all that void. He's going home. He's going with they're making a big farbrengen. They're on their way. It looks like that's what's mashma from the Gemara.
Yeah. So I don't know what the pshat in this story is. Okay, fine. Weiter. Zog the Mishna. Aaron Kaplan, any pictures on this stuff over here with all these kohanims? He post any pictures?
I didn't see any good ones. I'm going to check again.
No? All right, because I could have used a couple of those to this Amud. Yeah. Okay, no pressure. Fine.
He did a lot of.
It's really for tomorrow's stuff also.
What kohanim?
I'm saying the threads and how many threads and how they threaded it. You got to be mamish. You got to be a seamstress to understand this. The rest of this Amud and the first Amud of the next Gemara. Yeah. So kohen gadol. Imagine you're maybe a seamstress. You don't have any problem with this. I'm good at ripping clothing. I'm not very good at fixing clothing. So zok the Mishna. Yeah. So kohen gadol mishamish b'shmaya kelim. Right, the shmaya begadim. That's the kohen gadol uses shmaya v'hedji ba'arva, and the kohen hedji is for ksines. Right, the ksines is the shirt, I guess. Yeah, umichnasayim and pants, and mitznefes, and that's the hat. Va'avneit and the belt. Ma'asav of kohen gadol. That's the kohen hedji. Ma'asav of kohen gadol chayshin. Right, so the chayshin is the how do you tie it? A breastplate, right? The ephod is what it rests on, which we're going to see in tomorrow's Daf as Hashem, that it has to take a rest on there. Ume'il, and the me'il is the robe, the tzitz, and then the tzitz when
I posted 2 pictures. They're not great though.
Okay. All right, fine. Thank you. So be'elu nishalan b'urim vitumim, right? So, and you, when the kohen gadol is wearing the shmaya begadim, that's when you could ask the Urim Vitumim. And we can only ask the Urim Vitumim for a king, and to somebody who the tzibur needs, right? Yeah, so that's the vague area there where somebody can come and say, hey, I have a tzibur dika question, so it needs to be asked. Yeah, so Zogding about it.
It's not. This doesn't mean that the Urim Vitumim won't tell you other things. This is what you can ask. With
He might give you more information.
Kasher shikr, that had nothing to do with any
so
of
the
these.
Gemara is gonna. The Gemara, I think, the Gemara is gonna discuss that. I think. I don't know. So let's see Gemara. So Torah about it. Dvarim shenemar behen. Here we go. I'm going to try and explain this to the way I understand it. Right? Dvarim shenemar behen sheish. Anything where it says sheish, which sheish is linen. Yeah, chuton kafel shisha. Then they had the strings were really made out of 6 threads, right? Meaning 6 threads combined into one. Right? Remember, so you look at your tzitzis, right? So you look at your tzitzis and you spin it a little bit. You see that each tzitzis string is made out of a few different strings. So we're saying that linen is comprised of 6. Moshzar, right? Something that says moshzar, which we'll see in the Gemara. Then that's shmaya. That's made out of 8 threads. Me'il, the me'il is the robe. Shnei, so that's made out of 12. Right? Paroiches is esrim v'arba. The paroiches is 24. Chayshin v'ephod esrim v'shmaya. The chayshin and the ephod is 24.
We have a machlokes about this.
28. 28.
I'm sorry, I said 24. I said 20. I'm sorry, 28. Sorry about that.
Well, the mashzar is 8, 20, 16, or 24. There was a 3.
I mean, the Gemara is going to ask about it, but I don't. It's not here. Okay. Anyway, so chutin kafel shtisha. So the chutin for the sheish had 6 minalan. How do you know? The Amar Kra, because the passuk says Vayasu es ksainis, es a kosnois sheish, ves a mitznefes sheish, ves pe'ere a migvois sheish, right? And ves michnese abad sheish moshzor, right? So there's a lot of times that it says linen here, right? It says it, sheish, ksainis sheish, mitznefes sheish, that's 2, pe'ere a migvois sheish, that's 3, michnese abad sheish moshzor, sheish moshzor, I'm sorry. So chamisha kroi ksivi, so it says it 5 times. Chad legufei the kisna. No, I'm sorry. Chad legufei the kisna. I'm sorry. One is to tell you that we're talking about linen. Chad shi chuton kofel shisha. One is coming to tell you that it should be you need 6 threads to make up 1 thread. Chad shi shazurin, and one that tells you you have to spin them all together. Chad the sharp begadim shaloi never behen sheish, and one is to tell you all the other begadim that it doesn't say sheish, that it also needs 6 v'chad la'akev, and one is to tell you that it's ma'akev. Let's say you use this linen that was not spun out of 6 strings, 6 threads, then it's going to be ma'akev. So my mashma the high sheish kisna. Who says that sheish is linen? So Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina Doma Kro, because the pasuk says bad. It says the word bad. Now, what is bad? Davar ha'olam min ha'karka bad. It's things that grow from the ground, piece by piece, right? Meaning it doesn't have branches. It doesn't have. It just has one leaf. It doesn't grow leaves out of leaves. That's the way I understand it. I don't know.
Just one stalk.
Yeah, I was thinking about like what's a big thing with the split hairs? How do split hairs? Split ends? Split ends by hair. So everybody's worried about split ends. So Pishton doesn't have split ends. So Memela, that's what the pasuk must be talking about because it says the word bad. So okay, Ve'ema Imra. Right? Why do you say that it's wool? So we say Amra of Tzuli Miftzala. But we say, what do you mean? Wool splits. So how could you say that it means wool? So Kisnanami of Tzuli Miftzala. Kisna literally, by the way, means flax, right? When you dry it up and it splits up. So we say, so Gemara answers, Kisna agav lekuse mafzel. The flax, the linen only splits because they beat it, right? They beat the flax, but the cotton does it naturally. So that's how you know that it has to be linen and not it's not cotton. Ravina Amar, right? That's a different shot where how do you know it's linen? Ravina Amar me'acha. Pe'ere pishtim yiyu aroishom, amichnesei pishtim yiyu amasneim. Right? They should have hats on their head and pants on their stomachs. Yeah. So what does that mean? So therefore what? So that's since the head it says pishtim beferish. So memela it's talking about linen. So Amar le Rav Ashi. Now also a very interesting question right here. Amar le Rav Ashi, because where's the pasuk from? The pasuk from Yechezkel. So Amar le Rav Ashi, Hamakamei das Yechezkel man Amra. Who said this before Yechezkel? Meaning we're bringing a pasuk from Yechezkel that it had to be made out of linen, according to Rava. And before Yechezkel, how did they know that it was made out of linen? Right? Rabbi, you don't like this kasha.
Because I've asked it 400 times.
Right. It's. I mean, how come they don't? I have a different question. Man, you have a time. I'm saying, why don't we ask this every time we say a new opinion? Right.
Right.
What's the most famous one? What did they wear? Which tefillin did they wear before Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam? Right. Which did they wear before? Right. So it's the same kasha that's being asked over here.
Here it's a little bit different. The lashon of the pasuk is Yehu Aroisham, like it's a new tzivui. It should be now Aroisham.
Okay, fair enough. The Gershon saying it says Yehu, it'll be. So
that's a Navi talking.
Amen.
It's a Navi talking.
Yeah. And still the word means what it means.
He's saying in the future. So what was before?
That's the doctor.
What? No, and a chanami, but that's not meaning we need to know from okay, whatever.
Well, the Torah said what they should wear. What was the Torah saying?
Yeah.
Yechezkel is now saying it should be pushed up. Okay,
saying,
what was until now?
Maybe because it's dafka from a passuk. Anyways, okay. So that's the Gemara's kasha. So who before Yechezkel, who said it? For the Tameis, the Gemara says, and according to you, Hadam Rav Chisda. Now, why the Gemara picks punk this one? I don't know. Also, why the Gemara punk picks this example? That we didn't learn this from Moshe Rabbeinu. That we learned out. What is it that we learned out? That a kohen who doesn't have a bris is not allowed to be the kohen. And who's the one that said it? Yechezkel. So does that mean before Yechezkel Hanavi said all this, kohanim that didn't have a bris could be kohanim? Before Yechezkel came along, who said this? We knew that it was a. It's Halacha l'Moshe Misina. That's what it has to be. And Yechezkel said, and he leaned it. He said it went on a passuk. We know that it has to be linen, and Yechezkel saying that we're putting it onto a passuk.
It's not a similar type of thing that we just did with the Halacha l'Moshe Misina with the psukim.
Ah, very excellent.
And you're working backwards.
Yeah, very good.
And now we got to go find the source, and now we got to go find the thing, and we're working backwards because we know what the answer. Now we got to figure out how to get to that answer.
Excellent. I love that pshat. Very good pshat, right? That's mishnayos with the Amud Aleph, right? And Amud Aleph, the David's saying, because the Gemara asked, well, maybe the passuk is messed up. I'm sorry, maybe the Mishna is messed up. Why are you saying the passuk's out of order? Maybe the Mishna is out of order. We said because we know that the Mishna has to be. We know the Messiah, so it's the exact same thing. That's what comes out. So, but it's still a fascinating thing that comes out that we have Messiahs, and now we have to fit everything into our Messiah.
It's even crazier when it's the Torah, meaning you're fitting the Halacha Moshe Misina, you're fitting the Torah into that.
Correct, right. That's right. Yeah, that's what comes out. It's interesting in the contemporary thing is the tchelis issue. Not that we want to go down. We haven't gotten into the tchelis issue on this stuff, but you have the tchelis issue, which basically what it is. That's true. Is that those that don't wear tchelis say our Messiah is that it's gone. We will not have tchelis until the Beis Hamikdash finished. You could bring me riots from today till tomorrow. We don't have it, right? That's our Messiah. That's our Messiah. We don't. So say like seemingly here, it's also that's our Messiah is this and that. You have to try and answer up for our Messiah. So that's what we're stuck doing, trying to answer up. The machmirim or makilim, whichever, who are not wearing tchelis, are busy answering all the riots to say to fit it into the Messiah. Okay, so Mishazar, Moshzar. So that which literally means also like some sort of twisted. So that's shmaya. That's made out of 8. Minalon. So how do you know? Dichsiv vayasu al shulei hameil reminded tchelis for agamon for the last shani moshzar. Right. So they made on the bottom, right on the bottom of the kohen gadol's things on his clothing. He had the pomegranates from tchelis, right, and argamon to last shani. Yeah, v'yolif moshzar miparoiches, and then we're going to learn out. So Afkan Esim Va'arba. So maybe over there, it's just like here, it's there, but Parach is 24, right? Which we'll see. So here too is also 24. The have a kol chad v'chad timni, which means that every one of the threads is 8. Yeah. So v'neilaf, and then Gemara says, okay, so v'neilaf michayshin ve'ephod. Why do you learn from Choshen Eifod? Mala halon eser v'shmaya. There it's 28. Afkan eser v'shmaya. So here it's 28. So my answer is no. Don and davar shaloi nemer by zav. Midavar shaloi nemer by zav. We're going to learn one thing that doesn't mention gold in it from something that doesn't mention gold in it. Lafuke Choshen ve'eifod should never be zav. Choshen Eifod discusses gold, so therefore we're not going to learn out from that. Meaning again, the way the pasuk is learning is how do you know Moshar is 8? Because Moshar is part of the Paraychas. Right, and it's the parayches is going to have 24. So 3 times 8, 16, 24. So that means that it has to. I mean, there's 3 types of meaning. This I jumped a step. There's 3 types of string, whatever the word is. 3 types of clothing, whatever it is that's going to be used. Each one has 8. That makes 24. Right. That's how. So the melo, the mashzar. Is 1/3 of it, so it means it has 8. So the Gemara asks, well, I learn that from Choshen Eifah, and then you have to split 28. So we say, no, we'd rather learn something that has no gold in it, which the Paraychas had no gold in it, to the Mashsa, which had no gold in it, better than Choshen Eifah that did have. So Gemara asks, Adarabba, Don and Beged mi Beged, Lafuki Paraychas Doyle. Why don't we learn out a Beged from a Beged? Right? Choshen and the Ephod and the Mashsa, that's all what the kohen gadol wears. The paraychas he doesn't wear. Shouldn't we rather compare garment to garment than gold to gold or not gold to not gold? So the Gemara slugs it up. Eladana me avneit. So we learn it out from the belt. Redanan beged v'davar shaloi nemer by zav, and we learn out something that's considered a beged, which the belt is, and something that doesn't have gold in it. Beged v'davar shaloi nemer by zav. Ve'ein dana davar shein by zav midavar sheyesh by zav, and we don't learn out something that doesn't have gold in it from something that does have gold in it. Ramari Amar, so Ramari says a different shot why we don't learn it out from the Choshen and the Ephod. Tasenu ksiv. It says you should make it. Tasenu lezev v'loy la'achar. You should do it for this one and not for anything else. Right? So meaning only the Choshen and Ephod get 28 strings, not anything else. Ravashi Amar. Ravashi says that you can't learn out the pomegranates and all that from the Choshen because everything has to be equal. Meaning, v'hechi nevet, how are you going to do it? Now we need a little bit of math. Nevet tlasa, dasara, asara. So what are you going to do? Make 3 threads of 10, then havalu tlas, and then you have 30. Never trade the tisha, make 2, have 9 threads, v'chad dasara and 1 10. So it says Vasisa that all the Asiyah should be equal. So therefore you have to learn it out that it's only 8. Okay, we'll stop here. We're still only halfway through all the cheshbonos with the threads. So we'll continue. So tomorrow we could in the beginning of the daf is continuation is, and the second daf is a lot of Geshmaka Agadata. All right. Good night, everybody.
Have a safe trip home, Gershon.
Thank you. Man.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Yeah,
it was good to see you today.
likewise. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
To make 3 of 10, you end up with 30. And you have to have what?